Hey everyone, today I wanted to show you this analog clock that I made in Vanilla 1.8 using command blocks and armor stands. This clock takes the Minecraft's time of day to determine what position the clock is at. So if I did /time set 6000, which is midday, it makes the clock 12 o'clock. So if I do 19,000, which I think is 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. actually, then it will set it at that position. But yeah, so I'll set it back to 6,000. So I'll quickly try and explain how it works. If I go into game mode 3, you can see that there are two armor stands here. One is smaller than the other. The big one is used for the minute hand, and they both have levers in the head slot. The small one is the hour hand, and they are named hour and minute. And then if I go over here, I will show you how it actually takes the time of day. Oops, it's going into raining. So it takes the time of day by using the time query datetime command. So that outputs the time in ticks. So it's at about 7,000 now. And that goes from 0 to 2,400. So I'm saving that result, the query result for that, so 7,000 for my player in the time objective. So it sets my score for time to whatever this output is, so 7,045. I'll show you it better in score objectives, set display, sidebar, time. So you can see that my scoreboard objective for that is the proper time in ticks, and you can see that we also have min, which is a placeholder, and we have the two others. The bottom one is the actual hour, so it's 7 at the moment. So that takes the actual ticks and just divides it by 1,000, and because it's integer division, it will only take the whole numbers. So when my ticks reaches 8,000, that will turn to 8. The min goes from 0 to 1,000. Once it reaches the next the next hour, it resets that back to 0 again, and that counts up. And that is used to calculate the actual minutes, which is the third number down, so 14, 15, 16, 17, and that takes the min number and divides it by 17 to get about the minute score. Actually, I can just do this. So that's roughly how that works. So to divide it by 1,000, all I've got is we've got scoreboard players operation for the entity named hour, and we're taking the time objective, so whatever the time is, and we're dividing it by the hour's score for time to hour, which is 1,000. So we're taking the time score and dividing it by 1,000 to get the whole number, single digit number, or double digits actually. For the minute, we're setting it to the minutes time and then dividing it by time to min, which is 17. Now it should be 16.6 or 16.7 pretty much for an accurate time. So you can see that this last tick here is a bit shorter than the others. I can't really help that because it's integer division without having some more command blocks to try and handle that. But once it reaches the hour, the minutes reset, so it doesn't really lose it. It won't skip, like it won't lose track after a while. So it's always accurate to the time of day. So you can just leave it running and it will work. and then I'll show you these bits here now. So I think it's this one, yeah. So it tests for the entity named hour with a time score of 6, and then it does these two command blocks. So it executes this comparator and then runs these. So it does entity data for the entity named hour with a time score of 6, and it changes the pose of the head to 0, 0, -0. This last number is the one that we're interested in because that's the actual rotation that we're using. This is just used to reset the mins, the fake player min, the time score to 0 again. But this last number here is what we're using for the rotation. So if we go to the next hour, which is 7, you can see that it changes from -0 to -30, then to -60, -90, and that's the degrees, the angle in degrees. And I'm using negative numbers to make it go clockwise, or just to make it easier to calculate it going clockwise. And then all of these ones and some in the middle row is for the minute hand, and that's just the same thing except we don't need these test for things. So we just have entity data for the armor stand named min, score of time 12, and we change the head pose to whatever the appropriate minute is. So these ones just follow onwards from that, changing by 6 degrees every time, whereas these ones change 30 degrees at a time. So yeah, that's about it. It's not a terribly useful thing, but it's quite cool, I think. It just shows you some of the sort of things that you can do with command blocks now, especially armor stands. People are always finding out new things to do with them. I don't know if anyone's actually done this before, but I don't think they have, so yay. I just put it on a quartz block to look more modern, I guess. But yeah, that's the end of the video, I guess. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.